Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's regular meeting of the Portsmouth Planning Board for December 17th, 2009. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the November 19th, 2009 Planning Board meeting.
So moved.
Moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the chair votes aye. And if the board would indulge me before we get into our lengthy agenda this evening, I'd like to recognize one of our fellow planning board members who I feel like the AAA manager who's got all the top prospects that get called up for the majors.
Moving on up.
So would be remiss, Tony, if we didn't all thank you so much for your efforts. I think you're going where you deserve to go, and I mean that. I mean that well earned. I think you're going to do a great job in the council, and it just wouldn't be a rousing send-off if we didn't have a black bag with gold lettering on it, ornately wrapped gift.
Do you know what it is?
I have to shake your hand this way.
Oh.
Can I just
We heard on
You
the
can.
news. We heard on the news.
There's a
you
card as
smashed
well,
your hand
Tony.
at a door.
Wow.
You can just pass that down.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Sir,
Tony
name and address
Coviello,
for the record,
341
please.
Dennis Street. Thanks. I have a feeling I know what this is, but judging from prior years, but thank you. I'll open it up afterwards. I had a feeling this might happen tonight. I actually had to recuse myself after for the only item we have on the agenda. I figure I better show up for the last planning board meeting and show up late almost. Apologies. I wanted to say a few things to the people that have been here longer than me, especially because you've been a big part of my education and how the city's been running. John, this has been a great leader. Thank you for just keeping everything moving forward. You know, having run a meeting a couple of times, it's really difficult, and you do a great job at it. Thank you. Cindy, Tom Freeney likes to say that Nancy Carmer was his teacher, and I feel like you've been mine here, teaching us how the way that the everything gets run in the city, and I really appreciate that. Likewise with you, Rick. Really helpful. Thank you very much. And Paige, again, a great job leading this group here. And Mr. Coker. Every board needs a Mr. Coker. No, seriously, I don't know if you guys have heard this when I was campaigning. I told the story a lot because it really, a big part of my education and being here is realizing that when we disagree on something, it's not personal. It's just passion about the city and those your histories, the way that you've come here has brought us to do different opinions on things. And Don, the way you treat everybody professionally has really been an education for me. So thank you, everybody, and thank you all of you who came in after me. You guys have been great as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. You were one of the easier ones to put on the mug, so I think the wording's appropriate for the time that you've spent on the board. So again, I know you'll do well with Councilor Dwyer and represent this planning board well. Well, with that, we're going to get into the agenda for tonight, and I think, Tony, you were going to recuse yourself. Thanks for coming. Item A under new business.
Open your present while you're done.
The request of 7 Islington Street LLC and Anthony DiLorenzo for property located at 40 Bridge Street for a 1-year extension of site review approval granted on January 15, 2009. The planning board action on this matter has been deemed to be legislative in nature. If any person believes any member of the board has a conflict of interest, that issue should be raised at this point or will be deemed waived.
Yes, well, this is another one of the projects that has come before us that's been delayed due to the economy. As noted in the memo, the site review approval will expire on January 15th unless the board grants the approval prior to that date. The applicant is requesting the full 1-year extension that is allowed by the regulations. The one note that I had in here was that in addition to the stipulations that were included in the original site review approval, I recommended an additional stipulation stating no building permit shall be issued for the project shown in the site plan until the subdivision plan approved on October 16th, 2008 has been signed and filed in the Registry of Deeds. This is just because that was intended originally. The subdivision plan was approved by the board and has not yet been implemented, has not been filed, and that's necessary to to have the setbacks work on this particular lot. And so rather than risk the chance of losing sight of that, just wanted to put that stipulation in there so that we keep track of it before the plan is signed.
Okay. Need a motion on this?
Yes, I think the motion would recommend the motion as stated in the memo.
So moved.
Moved. Seconded. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the chair votes aye. Gets kind of quiet on the motions, Tony, when you're not involved, so. That concludes our new business. We'll go to 3, adoption of site plan review regulations, and that would be item A, the adoption of the site plan review regulations dated December 17th, 2009. I think, Rick, you're going to give us a little update on this?
Yes, you have a one-page memo in front of you with a bit of an update. As you recall, we had finalized the draft revised site review regulations back in April 2008 and posted them on the web, and they've been there for 20 months or so, and they were at least referred to and posted as part of the series of 4 hearings that the board held in the summer and fall, and we had no comments at all received on those regulations. I had made some typographical and formatting corrections, but otherwise the draft that's before you is the same as the April 2008 document. And this new memo has to do with the review process that the City Council has been going through on the revised zoning ordinance. And on Tuesday at the work session, one of the items that the council asked for was an increase in the front setbacks in the Gateway District. If you will recall, we had proposed, I believe, a 20-foot minimum setback for all uses, and then could be reduced to 10 feet for the Gateway Plan development. And we have added something more than 10 feet to that to just give some more room there. But I think Councilor Dwyer actually asked for, if we're going to do that, to make sure that we have reasonable, meaningful landscaping in front of, in that additional setback area, so we don't just get a wide grassy strip, but we get something that really makes sense. And a lot of people in the public hearings pointed to the credit union building and the unemployment office with and the public service building in the OR district with the trees in front of it as the kind of thing they'd like. So because landscaping is addressed not in the zoning ordinance but in the site review regulations, we decided to propose an additional paragraph in the site review regulations that would address the concern that was raised in the work session. And that's what is on this memo, so that it would read, in the Gateway District, the front yard shall include a landscape buffer strip with a depth of at least 1/3 of the distance between the street right-of-way and any building, and extending across the width of the lot except for driveways, sidewalks, and bicycle paths. The buffer strip shall be in addition to the street trees required herein, and shall include a combination of trees and lower-level elements such as shrubs, hedges, fences, planted berms, or brick or stone walls. And so basically that's the only change that we're recommending as part of the adoption of the site review regulations. And if you agree with that and have no further changes, I guess we would look for a motion as stated on this page.
Any discussion on this? No? I think we're looking for motion to vote to adopt, correct?
To adopt the revised site regs to take effect on the same date as the zoning ordinance, and with that additional paragraph inserted.
So moved, yeah. Second.
Discussion? No? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The chair votes aye. Before we go call for adjournment, I think, Rick, you had a couple things to update us on?
Just one thing. I have a memo here that we had I sent to the city manager back a month ago, and we realized that we actually hadn't given it to you. So here it is, a little bit late, but it was a summary of all the outstanding major referrals from the City Council to the Planning Board and what was going on with them. So, and it was basically a status update. There's no action that's needed. It's informational. The first item is the Bartlett Street, Kate Street area, the rezoning that we've put off until after the zoning ordinance has been taken care of. The second one is the Page Restaurant, and we've again deferred that since this memo. We've deferred it again until all the violations have been taken care of. The community campus sign, we have not had a chance to get back to that yet. We'll try to do that after the new year. Woodbury Avenue, McClintock, and Sagamore, all those pieces have been taken care of since the memo. So the items that are in those three last bullets are out of date now. But these are just to provide the city manager and the council with an update on where all those referrals stood, because we had fallen behind on some of them, and thought you should have this as memo as well.
I think it's a good idea. I like that. So, any other items?
That's it.
No, I would, just for the last time, like to thank this board for all the heavy lifting we did this year on the rewrite, the site plan review regs. I think based upon the comment and feedback from the public at the city council meetings, I think we did our job very well. So I'd like to thank everybody again for that. Hopefully 2010 brings us a little lighter agenda, but my guess is it won't. So I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a happy holiday, a safe New Year. Enjoy the brisk weather, and with that, I guess we'll call for adjournment.
So moved.
Thank you. Good night.